Well, he should shift his view because, firstly, it's extremely important for the country, and secondly, the American president and others are showing it can be done. If America can deport people who've broken into America and joined criminal gangs and much more, why can we in Britain not deport the Muslim rape gang members who've been convicted?
At the start of the year, the British right thought we might finally be about to get a true small c Conservative Party to lead a Make Britain Great Again Trump-style movement right here in the United Kingdom. And sure, I'm totally behind the fact that the usual right-left divide has broken down in so many ways in recent years, but broadly, I think we could agree that that movement would mean mass deportations, a focus on demographic change, a plan to deal with the Islam takeover, lower taxes, a reformed NHS, a smaller state, and most importantly, the protection of free speech as sacrosanct. But after Elon Musk made his shocking decision to turn on Nigel Farage and endorse Rupert Lowe, Reform UK's hard-charging MP, over Tommy Robinson, well, at that point, that is when everything seemed to change. And it wasn't just Zia Youssef's takeover of Reform culminating in that utterly insane decision to report Rupert to the cops for 30 words, but something more significant. Almost like a fundamental move to purge Reform of the true believers in its midst in favour of centrists. And on the British Bashing Corporation this morning, just 2 days before this seismic election, that process seemed complete, where Nigel Farage confirmed that Reform UK was neither on the right nor the left of British politics. In other words, to me, I think he was saying, yep, we have tacked to the centre. Watch.
Labour have been pushing as your line of candidates being failed Tories.
Well, what a load of rubbish. I mean, I think what the Labour Party found was about 2.5% of our candidates had formerly been Conservative councillors. We also got former Lib Dem councillors and former Labour councillors too. No, we are not left, we are not right, we are common sense, we're standing up for British values. We feel that, well, both local government and national government is broken in Britain and people want a fresh, new voice. And I've never seen a government like this Labour government lose popularity so quickly.
Just like courting the Muslim vote, Nigel is also courting the unions, who equally despise him.
You have been courting the unions in the run-up to this local election, but the TUC General Secretary said this of you. He said you are a political fraud and hypocrite who is cosplaying as a working-class champion in order to win votes. Just wonder what you make of those words.
Well, I think he's very scared because, I mean, don't forget, it is the trade unions that fund the Labour Party. Unite and GMB, between them, have put nearly £50 million into Labour since 2020. But many union members are going to go and vote Reform on Thursday, and Paul Nowak doesn't seem to like that. Look, we are on the side of working people.
Now, I would argue that this new positioning, this centrist positioning that Reform UK have clearly taken, makes them vulnerable on the right. Because let's be honest, most of us feel pretty disillusioned about this policy retreat. Indeed, even the Conservatives, who became a left-wing party, so they can hardly talk because of their 14 failed years in office, but even they see an opportunity, openly posting on X about Nigel's now infamous interview with GB News, where he declared mass deportations as impossible, writing, Nigel Farage talks a big game, but when pushed on whether people here illegally should be deported, it's impossible to do. It's pointless even going there. Weak. And Nigel's weak approach has even earned a rebuke from Douglas Murray on his own channel. Watch this.
The question you got Nigel Farage on was very interesting. It was interesting to see him not take your bait on that, unlike me. Obviously, you should have very large numbers of people deported in every European country. And this is not by any means fringe opinion. Matteo Salvini, Giorgia Meloni in Italy have talked about the need to deport, for instance, the 1 million people who are absolutely in their country in Italy illegally. We know that there are at least 1 million people in Britain illegally. By the way, I don't trust that number, just like I don't trust many of the numbers, because the 1 million illegal figure has remained the same for about the last 15 years. And I can't help thinking, as I see boats coming in day after day to the south coast of England, among other places, that it would be weird if the figure was so static. But obviously, if people have broken into your country, they should not remain. They've broken the law. And I would add to that it's obviously the case that if people are in your country and hate your country and are preaching against your country and much more, you deport them.
Of course you do. So why is Farage so reluctant to express support for a policy that is overwhelmingly positive, with even a majority of Labour voters now supporting mass deportations?
Just very briefly on Nigel, do you think he's gone soft on this?
I think he probably just doesn't want to go there. I wrote about his disagreement with his fellow MP Rupert Lowe in The Spectator the other week, and it seemed clear to me, I thought what Rupert Lowe said about this seemed all to me to be eminently sensible and in line with what Donald Trump is advocating in America and mainstream politicians are advocating across Europe. I think Nigel Farage just doesn't want to be the person to call for that. You'd have to ask him why. Did you?
I asked him first of all, I asked him why, and he said because it's politically impossible. And I said, well, is it even your ambition to deport all illegal migrants?
And then he said no.
And he said no. But he seems to maybe have shifted his view today. So
well, he should shift his view because, firstly, it's extremely important for the country. And secondly, the American president and others are showing it can be done. If America can deport people who've broken into America and joined criminal gangs and much more, why can we in Britain not deport the Muslim rape gang members who've been convicted?
So all of this has meant Nigel has been challenged from the right, something that Reform has almost seemed to relish, thinking that washing their hands of that lot, as Richard Tice famously called us, might make the party appear more mainstream. But ultimately, the pressure, you could argue, has worked, because Nigel is now promising a mass deportation policy within 3 weeks after the election, although we don't have the receipts yet. Rupert Lowe has claimed victory, though, posting on X, all else aside, after pressure from the, quote, online right, we've managed to get all three parties now openly attempting to brag about their credibility on deportation. I call that progress. Window shifted. And Connor Tomlinson summed it up this way. It's too early. The fact that the Conservative Party is trying to outflank Farage to his right after a decade of saying diversity is our strength shows where the momentum lies in British politics. Mass deportations are not an exclusive preoccupation of the very online right. They are a vote-winning issue. The myth of winning from a centre ground which agrees mass immigration and multiculturalism are unalloyed goods is well and truly dead. And unfortunately, this campaign in a lot of ways has been overshadowed by that ego clash between Rupert Lowe and Nigel Farage. And I think that's a huge detriment to our movement. And my friend sent me a great passage from a book yesterday, which I wanted to share because I think it is really relevant here. So it's from the 48 Laws of Power, where the American author Robert Greene summed up why leaders should keep their rivals close. And he wrote, Andrew Johnson, Abraham Lincoln's successor as US president, saw Ulysses S. Grant as a troublesome member of his government. So he isolated Grant as a prelude to forcing him out. This only enraged the great general, however, who responded by forming a support base in the Republican Party and going on to become the next president. It would have been wiser to keep a man like Grant in the fold where he could do less harm than to make him revengeful. And so you may often find it better to keep people on your side where you can watch them than to risk creating an angry enemy. An angry enemy is the role Rupert Lowe is now playing. No matter how annoyed or pissed off that might make Reform UK supporters, who now believe the man should just be erased from history. He's gone from hero, now he should just be forgotten. That said, I have been clear that despite personal attacks from Zia Youssef and other Reform bigwigs, as far as I'm concerned, the best party to vote for this week remains Reform UK. It's too early. That's the point. It's too early. But to be very clear, by the way, to all of the people who think I'm somehow turning on Reform, if I was voting in the local elections next week, I would be voting for Reform UK. That doesn't mean that there shouldn't be scrutiny on where this party is going, because we don't want Tory 2.0. Didn't work first time around, and so we need something better in order to save the country. And this week, Nigel got an endorsement he may not have been expecting when Katie Hopkins urged her millions of supporters to vote Reform, even if they believe its leader is a snake or a monster.
Have a minister for deportation and will roll back on net zero and all of that nonsense. It's good to see this shift, and well done to Rupert Lowe and Ben Habib, who have pushed for this. You don't have to like the guy, you just have to choose your monsters. And right now, Nigel is the right monster to choose.
You know how often I talk about the need for free speech to be protected. And I've been increasingly thinking of the need for personal protection from snoopers, bad actors, and hackers online. I'm delighted to tell you I have now found the fail-safe solution. But what's more, this VPN, Virtual Private Network, to use the full official term, is also a life changer when it comes to providing you entertainment and information from anywhere in the world, wherever you are. So I want to introduce you to Surfshark, an incredible and easy to use service that encrypts all your internet traffic, meaning your online activities stays safe so you can shop, stream, browse, and conduct your banking online in complete privacy. But what I love is that the benefits of Surfshark actually go way beyond keeping you safe online. It also allows you to access your favorite entertainment, news shows, news channels, and international streaming services like Hulu, iPlayer, HBO Max, Peacock, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, the full works within seconds, as if you were watching from another country, which can be really handy if particular shows are geo-blocked. If you're traveling for work or on holiday, you can also get all your favorite content from home, including sports. Plus, it's an insurance policy against creeping censorship in so many countries like France, which still, to this day, is blocking Rumble. How insane is that? You can watch anything, anytime, anywhere. True freedom, which I'm all about. A VPN can also save you money in these very tight times because you can get the best deals from websites that change their prices depending on where you're buying from. There are other benefits too. You can use Surfshark on unlimited devices, meaning your entire household can stay safe with just one subscription. And with over 3,200 servers in over 100 countries, there is a world of choice at your fingertips with 24/7 customer service if this is your first time using a VPN. So go to surfshark.com/outspoken for an extra 4 months of Surfshark at an unbeatable price. What's more, there's no risk here because Surfshark is so confident, and I use it every day, so I agree that it's the best VPN in the world, that you can give it a try for a full 30 days. If you're not entirely satisfied, you will get your money back. So go to surfshark.com/outspoken for an extra 4 months of Surfshark at an unbeatable price. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.